if you'll come up, but one more question from a commissioner.
Chief Carter, you talk about criminal nexus. One obvious criminal nexus is that there's an active investigation, but are you including in criminal nexus possible criminal activities? Specifically, I'm thinking here of organized crime groups, gangs, terrorist entities, these types of things that by their very nature do pose a certain risk. And the reason I ask is that there have been a lot of valid points made here from people, but on the other hand, there's another side of the coin here, and that is the police have a responsibility, and I personally expect the Austin police to not just react after the fact. You want to put the pieces of the puzzle together beforehand, you can prevent a lot of difficulties. So I just want to make sure that you're not restricting criminal nexus to actual crimes. In other words, are you you're not just thinking reactively here?
No, number one is when you look at what the philosophy and the direction of ARIC, it's really about prevention. In other words, we'd much rather intervene before a crime occurs than have to respond afterward. At the end of the day, APD has a CompStat-like system. We have a watch commander system. What we're really trying to do is we're trying to get our hands around understanding criminal issues before they occur, so we can intervene or redirect people or whatever it is. Absolutely, that's there. I also want to stress that every major police department today receives information from people that call all the time and say, hey, this doesn't look right. You know, something's going on, there's somebody walking around my neighbor's house or anything like that. Police every day respond and go to those locations and look, and then we have to make a judgment. Look at, oh, this is an innocent activity, or it could be somebody casing a property or something like that. So you're absolutely right. We would not restrict that, because that's something that each one of these police departments do today. This is basically about us cooperating together in this information that is buried in these different RMS systems, these different silos, and we can't communicate with one another, is to try and figure a way to get that information so we can share it and hopefully interrupt the next burglar. In other words, if there was a burglar that's hitting in the city of Austin, we actually have anecdotal stories like this where there was a series of home burglaries that occurred in South Austin and a series that occurred out in Travis County, and Travis County detectives had half the story, the Austin detectives had half the story. Their RMS systems, the reports didn't communicate. There was no way for those detectives. Only after the detectives from those different agencies started talking, accidentally, were they able to solve this crime. And so the idea is to bring this together and say, you know what, if we could have got on top of that earlier, we could have prevented that many more burglaries from occurring and apprehended that burglar or those serial burglars in the case of Group.
We have 2 more minutes before we lose the room. Mr. Bigger, I apologize. We have 2 minutes to speak. So.
Okay. Thank you. My name is Gabe Bigger. I'm a 10-year Austin resident and a 2-year Travis County taxpayer. I'm also a member of Texas for Accountable Government. I would like to first send my thoughts and prayers out to Mr. Winston and Mr. Morgan, who were recently attacked here at City Hall on their way downtown. As a young boy, I lost my brother to a violent, unsolved murder and witnessed firsthand the true terror of grief over the illusionary terror of fear. So I feel the family's discomfort and pain. I do find it disgraceful, however, that public officials have used this incident to grandstand in front of City Hall to push for the establishment's agenda for a law enforcement surveillance grid with the pretense that it will make our citizens safer and help solve crime. In no way to downplay the seriousness of the events that occurred here at City Hall, but the debate for increased implementation of high-resolution surveillance cameras should not be justified based on this recent case of 2 young men who were beat up while going to party downtown. Rallying the compassions of people to have innocent people's First and Fourth Amendment constitutional rights violated through surveillance and profiling is not the answer that Austin citizens want to hear from our leadership. We can talk about the studies that have shown surveillance cameras have little effect on crime reduction, or we can talk about the more frequently occurring incidents of official abuse of power and corruption with our own representative government, but I don't want to bore you with those details. I'd like to bring the human element to this table today. I would like to remind everyone of last year's severe violent attack on my close friend here, my ex-coworker Ryan Ward, where he was beaten and blindsided with a metal bat by several criminals on Robert E. Lee Boulevard on June 13th at 1:30 a.m. walking home from a local restaurant. I spoke with Mo today and discussed this matter of surveillance over safety, or surveillance for safety, and this is what he said. And I'd just like to read you his statement because he can't be here today, his mother's in the hospital. He said, "Surveillance in a perfect world would be okay. Part of me wishes I would have caught these guys on camera. However, it is not worth the risk to the possible abuse of power to put the omniscient intrusion on personal privacy through surveillance cameras into the hands of government or even your fellow man. There are more practical ways of preventing crime, such as in his case, which he said my case. I believe a simple street light, having a beat cop or mounted patrol in the area, or just being out walking home alone at night would have made a difference where I could have possibly defended myself. I wish police would not waste their time doing forced blood withdrawals and enforcing petty drug crime, and instead were out on the streets preventing real crimes against persons." Now, Mo also said he would never felt more relieved than when he saw Austin Police Department arrive on the scene, but he was concerned with the investigative procedure on the cases, saying that he had to be very persistent in signing an affidavit and going down and speaking with the detective, who said there is really little that could be done in this situation.
Mr. Bigger, thank you. I'm going to have to call time
Thank
to
you.
lose the room.
We have a brief statement we'd like to log on the record, if you don't mind. Very brief. Thank you, Judy.
I would like to make a motion that you possibly, because we have so much public comment, we never seem to have time, perhaps you could set up a separate meeting that's just public comment. Because we have so many issues to discuss, and you never get to hear what the citizens have to say. And in fact, you vote before you've even heard what the citizens have said. I mean, you voted on a fusion center and going forward with the way that it's going without even hearing our comments. So,
And commissioners, you just took 12 minutes of public comment time for your own discussion.
and we come to the meetings and we
With all due
sign up,
respect.
and there's just never time. So
So-
we would like to have